What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dark Hour 717, and of course, here on the channel, what we cover is a lot of Star Citizen, as well as some other gaming and tech and collectibles. And of course, for those of you that are backers of Star Citizen, one of the things that you can ultimately dream of is one day possibly seeing one of your favorite ships in flight or sitting in the cockpit in real life. But of course, reality sinks in, and that's not going to be a possibility. But for those of you that are backers of Star Citizen and as well as hobbyists and like to build some of your own things, there is a new option that's almost the second best thing, and that's building your favorite ship of Star Citizen yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about today is a new company that's out there called Melon Man Studios. Now, these are the guys that actually have the official license from CIG to build brick building sets of some of the ships that are most popular in Star Citizen. Currently, right now, they have 6 options, which are going to be the Retaliator, the Corsair, the F7A, as well as 2 variations of the F8C, and also the Gladius. I was actually lucky enough to be contacted by David from Melon Man Studios marketing team and asked if I would be willing to try out one of their models and give my honest opinion as to what I thought about the build and the outcome of what is built and its quality, as well as the pros and cons of my experience with it. Now, first and foremost, I do want to say that this is not a paid promotion. This is not, an affiliate type link type things. Melon Man Studios website will be linked in the description below, so check that out, but it is not an affiliate link. And the opinions actually expressed about the model itself are my own and have no input from Melon Man Studios whatsoever. They don't even have the ability to preview the video before I release it. Now, generally, myself, I've done a number of brick building sets back in the day. Halo, as well as Star Wars, were 2 of the bigger sets that I always enjoyed building. Haven't built so many in the last few years. Being half a century old, my eyesight is not the greatest, so sometimes reading the instructions is a little bit difficult for me because I'm, lazy and don't want to go get a new prescription for my glasses. But overall, I'm definitely a fan of doing brick building sets, and they're a lot of fun. Being able to see the bricks come together to form, the creation that you're trying to build and all that is definitely a highlight of the hobby. Now, also just be upfront, this is a re-recording of the intro as well as the outro, just because I wasn't happy with the initial recording, so I wanted to sit down and re-record them. And we're also going to be going in and seeing the build. It is actually completed at this time. You might see it on the desk back there. But we'll go over all the details of it after we go through the build time lapse and everything like that. Now, we're going to actually take a look here at their website. When you come to melonmans.com, you'll actually see they are the only officially licensed Star Citizen brick building set. And if we head up here over to view all models, the main page just kind of gives a breakdown of the company itself. You can see they actually offer a brick figure set that is available out there. And then we see some of the ships that they currently have. The first one being the Retaliator. And then we also have the Corsair. And we have the F7A, and then the 2 variations of the F8C. Actually, the brick set that I built was the F8C, the stock one here in white, but they also offer an attrition repeater loadout with what looks to be like an executive paint job. And then down at the bottom here, we have the Gladius. And we also have the ability to do overseas shipping if you need to add that on there. So currently right now, it is a small offering of the number of ships that they have available out there in Star Citizen. I mean, there's hundreds of ships, and right now they're working with 6. Now, speaking with David from the marketing department, there are definitely other ships that they want to do. And some of the interesting things I learned from speaking with him is that actually he got his start in a brick building community that was created years ago by Silos A51. And there they actually built on their own a Cuddy Black model. Now, he said that came out to be about 4,000 pieces and definitely would be way too elaborate to offer in this setting. And if they were to do a Cuddy Black there, that they would definitely have to dwindle down the number of pieces required for it. Now, the F8C that I did, that actually had just below 1,400 pieces in comparison. Some of the other things that we actually discussed was how Melon Man Studios came about. And he went over the history of it to some degree. It was actually started by Yi Lu in 2025, and he to all his credit, shot a shot and approached CIG about getting the official license for the brick building sets, and they signed on to do that. And as we all know, CIG doesn't loosely just throw out their IP licenses, willy-nilly. So it's really a great step to be able to get that from them. And in their involvement with these kits, David said they're basically involved from step A all the way through step Z when they make it available on the website. They are completely engaged with Melon Man Studios on these designs. As far as how long the designs take, as David put it, many, many months, and then add many months more after that. Of course, they have a lot of things to consider as far as how it looks and the attention to detail to what the actual ships looks like in game, as well as the stability of the model being able to be on display. He said actually some of the lighter fighters are actually the most difficult to design because of the narrow silhouette on the front of the ship where it bulks up in the middle and then tapers off in the back. And that can create a somewhat of a stability issue. And the bulkier, larger ships are sometimes a little bit easier. One clear point that they did make is that these are not play sets. These aren't, similar to the Star Wars play sets that you see where they're meant to be taken apart, reassembled, played with on a daily basis by children or anything like that, that these are display pieces. These are really right in line with the UCS category that some of the other manufacturers have, which is your Ultimate Collector series that Lego offers. And keep in mind that when you get into the depth of detail that these things have, that it introduces a little bit more fragility than what you would have in a standard commercial play set. So they are meant to be just display pieces. He did state that there are other IPs that they're interested in, and definitely they have a Discord that you can join if you're interested in. And along the same lines of asking about what it takes to actually put these models together and design them, he did say that they actually are a very small studio and that they are getting a bit of growth and getting bigger, but it is actually still a very small team that actually does this. Now, David had actually only been with Melon Man Studios for a few months at this time, and he was always a backer to begin with, but also a fan of the brick building community. And asking him what brought him to want to work with a company that's combining the two. And that was his love for the game, as well as the scope and size of what CIG is putting together. And he feels that it's extremely admirable with what they're building and the amount of heart that the team puts into building the Star Citizen universe for all the backers out there. And right before we get into actually seeing the build out of the F8C, I want to also make sure that everybody is aware you have an opportunity to get one of these building kits for yourselves. Melon Man Studios was kind enough to supply an extra F8C model for me to send out to somebody in our community. And all you have to do is watch this video, subscribe, and comment here on this video specifically, and you'll be entered in to win this model sent to you. We'll actually be picking the winner on April 1st. And then we'll be in touch to arrange shipping of the model to you. But just keep in mind, we're only going to be picking subscribers, and you have to comment on this specific video. But at this time, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and step aside and get into the unboxing as well as the build of the model. And then at the end, we'll go over the pros, cons, and whether it's something I would recommend that you'd want to get. Okay, so as I screwed up the audio on the recording of this, we're going to narrate this unboxing. So this is the original shipping box that the F8C came in, and this is really what I want to see when I'm receiving a collectible. We got corner guards on there, and if it can't be packed inside another box, then this is definitely ideal. With it being a brick building kit, you don't really have to worry too much about something being smashed and broken, but for collectors out there, it can sometimes be very important that the interior box of the product actually stays in as good of a condition as possible. And as we can see here, the packing is great with those corner guards, and the interior box came in with no marks whatsoever. Opening up, we've got the box itself for the F8C Lightning, and it is a slider type box. And on the front here, we've got the completed model pictured in flight in the F8C, and then on the back here we actually have a diagram of the F8C with some of its more features posted there. And then overall the box quality and the packing quality is definitely high end and is extremely well packaged. Opening that up, we slide the interior box out, and we want to try to be careful here not to damage anything, because again, I'd like to preserve the box to the best of my ability because it can even be used as a display as well. On the interior box, we have a close-up of the top turret of the F8C with a highly detailed picture of the pieces that form that. And on the top of the box, we have again the built-out F8C with a small inlay picture of some of its features. So altogether, I'm actually extremely, liking how this thing is boxed up. We open it up here, and inside, right on top, we've got an insert with the instruction manual. And this is, I believe, a 140-page manual here. And we take that on out, and it's got a picture of the F8C on top. And then we've got the stickers and just some product information cards inside the plastic. Taking the insert out, we actually find a letter from the manufacturer inside. And this letter is actually some FAQs and really just a brief appreciation for you getting the product, as well as, like I said, some FAQs as to why things like stickers are used. Inside here, we see two packaging boxes that actually put together form the F8C. We have box 1 and box 2, and this actually contains all our pieces. And taking a look at it, I love how this box is actually put together to form the F8C on the front. And when we flip it around to the back, we actually have the Made by the Community embossed logo on the back, which looks really sharp. A little bit hard to see on the gray and gray on the camera, but in person, it really pops out. So inside box 1 and 2, we find all our bags, and they're nicely separated into building steps. So these are actually separated into 5 separate bags, which are going to be able to be followed along in the instruction booklets, just like most building block sets that you have. It really walks you through so you don't have to go searching for too many pieces, wondering where they're at when they're all jumbled together. And then that's going to bring it to the itself, get started, and get this going. And we're going to hours into as many few minutes as possible here. All right, so here is the final build, and definitely came together extremely well. It was not a short process. The one thing I do definitely like is that on the back here, you can open this little door and you can flip on the lights here. All right. And of course, you get the light up rear engines on there. That is a great thing and a great attention to detail on that. And you can turn it on and off so you don't kill the battery. There is also a way to change the battery on that. Overall, the model comes with this stand with a display placard as to the model of the ship. And it does have everything on it as far as working landing gear that can extend, depending on how you want to display it, with or without the landing gear down. And the other thing that I will say I do like that it comes with a little armament for if you get the figurines that go with it. Though I kind of modified a couple of pieces here to display them on the display stand. That comes with the sniper rifle and the SMG. But we're going to take a closer look at this and go over my thoughts. So the complete model actually came out extremely well and much better than what I was expecting. And the attention to detail on it is absolutely amazing. Now, definitely, like I mentioned before, you do sacrifice a little bit of fragility for the attention to detail. But that's pretty common with things of this classification for the collector type models. The working landing gear, the light up rear engines, the opening cockpit, as well as those front wings that will pivot and everything are great add-on features that just kind of add to that detail that you see with this model. Overall, the build process, it was lengthy. This is not a 2-hour project on a Saturday. This is something you definitely want to, basically have the entire day free to put together. With all the interruptions I had because I have a 9 to 5 job as well as other things that interrupted my day, I would say total time to put this thing together was probably 13 to 15 hours for me. But the instruction booklet itself is actually extremely well put together. It's right on par with the major brands that are out there. Very detailed instructions, including warnings when two pieces are very identical, and making sure that you get the right piece and not grabbing the wrong one. Gives you the check mark and the X towards what the correct piece is that you want. And also, I would say that the booklet is put together in a very nice way with a nice cover and all that, that you can even display that with the model itself, as is the box. One thing I will say that I actually ran into was the fact that one of the bags I had a missing piece. This is not something that's, impossible to have happen. And it actually has occurred with me when I've had, major building sets like the Millennium Falcon and things like that. It's something that just unfortunately does occur from time to time. And I reached out to Melon Man Studios and David in regards to that. And actually, I got a very quick reply from David in regards as to what their process is for models that are having missing pieces. Now, in my case, I could take some of the extra pieces that were prepackaged in and make it work. Actually, I had a 2x1 flat stud that was missing. I was able to use, single one stud flat pieces to make up the difference. But he said that they do have a process that they are working on becoming more efficient with. But in all, there's an email address that you can reach out to request any missing pieces, and they will immediately get them shipped out to you. But in no way whatsoever will it ever result in having to send back the entire model, which is nice to see, because you don't want to have something half or 3/4 built and then have to pack it all back up and ship it back to the manufacturer, just get a whole new model and start over again. Granted, missing pieces are unfortunate and may cause a delay in being able to complete the model, but being able to get a single piece that you might be missing that you can't work around sent to you is definitely very, very fortunate. Now, the only other, not even negative thing I could say, but it would be something that could definitely be improved on, is in the instruction manual. There are certain places where they give indicators that a sticker needs to be placed on the model as you're building it. Now, bear in mind that, when it comes to the stickers, if you miss putting a sticker on at any point, it is not something that's impossible to go back and do after the fact. You can definitely do all the stickers after the fact. It's definitely easier to do it as you're building it, though. But the indicators within the instruction booklet, I think the indicators in the instruction booklet, a sticker is actually going to be needed, could be maybe a little bit more highlighted or placed in there with a more visible indicator that that's what you're going to need. I did miss putting a couple of stickers on, but like I said, it was very easy to go back and do it. But having something that draws attention to that small cube that indicates when you need to do a sticker would definitely be very helpful. Either a brighter color highlight around this, uh, either a brighter color highlight around the square, or maybe a note with sticker application posted above the picture that they have of it. And that was really about the most negative thing that I could find outside of the one missing piece. So, as a fan of Star Citizen and as a fan of brick building sets, is this something you should add to your collection? I definitely would say yes. With the ships that they have to offer right now, there's definitely going to be one in there that you're probably going to be a fan of. The prices range right in the same scope or slightly less than what you'll see with major brands UCS collections. And these are extremely well designed with high attention to detail. This is something that I am extremely impressed with and had a lot of fun putting together. And I think anybody out there that enjoys these kinds of things would definitely enjoy doing it as well. So that's about it as far as our take on Melon Man Studios brick building sets for Star Citizen ships. It's a great addition to the availability of collectibles within Star Citizen. And I would definitely like to say thank you to Melon Man Studios for the ability and opportunity to put this set together and build this kit out. And I would also like to add that thanks to their generosity, they have actually also supplied an additional F8C. And this is going to be the same model that you saw in the video here. And we're going to be giving that away to one of our viewers. And all you have to do to get a chance to win that F8C model is subscribe to this channel and also comment on this video. At the end of March here, we're going to be picking one winner from the comments and subscribers to get this model sent to them, and they'll be able to experience this for themselves and give it a try. So hit that like button, subscribe, and comment, and you'll be entered in for the opportunity to get that. And again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for viewing the video, and thank you for all the support for the channel. And hopefully we'll see you on some of the live streams coming up as 4.7 is coming down the road. And until then, we will see you in the verse.